Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum, a fast-acting alternative to energy drinks. It's 5 times faster without filling up on liquids. I'm Jeremy Elliott. I'm joined by Ryan Hand. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good. I guess you are after last weekend.
Oh, man. I hope you're ready for more of that.
Obviously.
That was beautiful. Hey, I told Joe, the week before I was fishing,
I took it on the chin last week in our pools, I'd say, because there's more than one. We're still even in wins, but it got ugly. I'm behind you by 11 spots now total overall.
It's going to get uglier. I have a feeling.
It's not going to get uglier. I had everything that possibly could go wrong go wrong.
Oh, boy.
Danny Dietrich at Port Royal didn't feel the power steering up enough, or I would have won that one.
Maybe.
He would have been past Logan Wagner. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, you almost passed him as it was. So
he had to go to the rear then.
Yeah.
I knew at that point the weekend was a lost cause for me.
It's good you don't have to pay out for each race or you'd have been in trouble.
I would have been in trouble. But nevertheless, we'll get to that in our final segment. That'll give me a chance to just kind of wind down
right
after how poor it was. I even did bad in Lonnie Wheatley's pool. I finished terrible, slipped all the way to 11th.
I don't know what to tell you.
It was a bad week all the way around for picking. That's for sure. So, but the racing was okay in this area. We're going to start.
And they got them all in. That was a bonus.
Well, yeah, that's a first.
Yeah.
So, Williams Grove, Danny Dietrich just laid a whooping on him. And I get that he started on the pole, but he increased his lead to over 4 seconds in lap traffic.
I would say that may had something to do with the clean air because the speeds were up a little bit, but he has been very good early in the season so far. So it wasn't a surprise that he won from the pole and that he dominated as much as he did, even though probably not the best track conditions for his deal. But when you're rolling and you're confident, which he is right now, he let him have it.
Track was narrow. He said he had to change his driving style a little bit, that he had to finesse it more. And whatever the case, whatever it was, he was dialed in and he took off and it was no contest.
And it was a night show. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you love night shows. You don't like day shows.
No.
Why is that?
I don't know, because we usually didn't do so well at day shows, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Greg liked the dry slick.
Yeah. You can get dry slick at night.
So it's your fault.
It's a different dry slick, though.
So it's your fault.
Absolutely.
Is that why you're sitting
That's
here?
why I'm sitting here now.
No.
It's so much easier to go to the races and go, hey, he messed up. He messed up.
They had 25 cars.
Car count was, yeah.
I expected more. I expected 28 to 30. I don't know. We still had 5, 6, 7 guys that aren't going to be here weekly, and that's an issue for me.
I think we'll see a couple more new guys come out here in the next week or two, and obviously after the All-Star show is when it'll really going to rear its teeth, I guess, and we'll see what we got.
Yeah.
Because there'll be a pile of cars for the All-Star show, because the All-Stars are bringing a good number of cars.
Yeah, especially early in the season.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. So the week after the All-Stars, I think we'll get a good indication of what we have. The weather's not good this weekend. Not for Williams Grove. It's great for Saturday and Sunday.
Night. Oh, yeah, Sunday this week, too, as well.
But it's terrible Friday.
Yeah.
So we'll see what we got. Lincoln Speedway. Of course, I took Freddie Raymer on Friday night. He wins Saturday night at Lincoln Speedway. This was going to happen eventually. He started 6th in the field. It was a handicap show, so I'm not surprised at all. He took the lead from Joe Cotta.
Joe Cotta did a good job there early.
Yeah, led 11 laps. And then Freddie Raymer kind of took over, and it was pretty much all over after that. But knew this was going to happen. He said in Victory Lane he had his head in his ass.
I'm sure his dad explained that to him.
It sounded like his dad.
Yeah.
That whole statement sounds like his dad.
No, Fred never minces his words.
Well, you at least know where you
But,
stand.
hey, it's good. I mean, sometimes you got to know.
Well, he obviously knew what to do about it and gets the win at Lincoln Speedway.
He's going to have a fast car. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Well,
they'll win some more races here shortly because I think Williams Grove's going to, when they go back to handicapping, I think he's going to be in pretty good shape there. But
Yeah, he doesn't have a top 5 at the Grove yet. So, do I pick him this?
Ooh.
I'm not picking. I don't know about this week because of the rain.
Yeah.
But we're gonna pick.
Should I take shots again?
Yeah.
For Friday night.
I gave you a freebie last week.
You did. That was very nice of you.
It was very.
We'll talk
nice.
about that again.
It cost
later.
me 1 spot.
As far as
Logan finished 5th.
oh,
Dietrich
I thought you were
finished
talking
6th,
about
it
letting
cost
me
1
repick.
spot. Nah, it's fine.
Okay.
Tim Gladfelder, second straight top 5 finish. Don't forget he was in the top 5 week 1. Now, granted, it was
had
narrow,
some issues,
but still, it's a good rebound, and it shows that maybe he's pretty quick at Lincoln.
Their stuff rolls at Lincoln right now. The end of last year, early this year, they've been rolling really good.
Yeah, he
good
won
good run
year.
for them guys. They need a run up front, and that's good. It's good for them.
Yeah, I think it's good to just have another competitive car.
Absolutely.
Somebody who's running well. He won last year, the last show.
And it's probably going to be there weekly. It's good. It's good for their field.
I agree with you. Brian Monteith, and we're going to talk about this a little bit in the final segment when we talk about our storylines going into this weekend. Not so good at Lincoln. He was running in the top 5. He was battling for second. It was kind of like a 4-car battle. I don't know exactly what, but it was an incident where there was a spin. Brett Mahalski was involved, and he went to the rear, finished 16th, but he only has 2 top 5s this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he was going to be fine. It looked like honestly, the video I saw, it looked like he kind of spun out by himself. I don't know if maybe a brake locked up or something. I don't know. And then he did get hit. So I'm under the assumption that maybe something got bent when he got hit and he couldn't get back up through. But yeah, it has been a slight struggle for them guys at the start of the year. Has speed like in warm-ups and stuff. So might be a pick this week.
Some circumstance. Oh, when they handicap at Link. Oh, I thought that this week, which is why I took him.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course you had Chad Trout, who was not good.
Yeah, he had a struggle for running second last week in points.
You got lucky this week.
I did.
You got very lucky this week.
It's all right.
So, but Monteith, does he rattle off 1 or 2 wins soon? So it's definitely something to follow. 26 cars at Lincoln.
Better.
And I think TJ Michael showed up.
Yeah.
I was stunned by that.
That's good. There's another guy that showed up from Ohio.
Yeah.
Along with him.
Bova?
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But they only got like 3 guys go down there that wouldn't be there every week. Ryan Smith
showed up this week.
Back and forth.
Yep.
So, more of an indication of Lincoln on what the true car count's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Port Royal Speedway, Ryan Taylor was really good.
Really good.
And started on the pole, but he had to fight off. I mean, he kind of got the lead at the beginning. Lucas fell back from 2nd to 3rd on the initial start. Jared Esch got by him, and then Dale Blaney came forward.
Yeah, but Lucas was 2nd on the restart, which I thought,
correct.
Man, I actually went, so I saw this all firsthand, and I was thinking, man, Ryan could be a sitting duck because Lucas is, if he gets a good restart, what you do in turn 1 is going to really indicate what's going to happen here. And I'll be honest with you, when they got to the flag stand, I was like, Ryan's got this thing. Like there was no, actually Dale was probably getting ready to pass Lucas at that point.
Well, Dale pulled a flyer on that in 1 and 2 and took over 2nd, and then he started to gain on Ryan.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, is Dale Blaney gonna, But then Ryan Taylor did a great job out front, hit his marks, and
absolutely
there was no touching him.
Yeah, no, he looked really good, did all the right things, and deserved to win it.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Is he going to run for points? Is he not going to run for points? Halfway through the year, he said that's when he'll evaluate that.
I became pretty good friends with him and his father because where I work, they live fairly close to where I work with Mike. And his dad indicated that they've done a lot of stuff, a lot of work this winter, and like they're really, really looking forward to a good season. So kudos to them guys for getting one early.
World of Outlaws, we're going to go on the road. David Gravel gets the win at Keller Auto Speedway. First 410 win for Jason Johnson Racing since Jason Johnson's tragic death. So very emotional, I would say.
I can only imagine.
And we're going to have Philip Dietz, the crew chief for JJR, on in segment 4. Talk to him a little bit about that. But I imagine that was a huge weight off their shoulders.
Yeah, and you knew it was going to happen. Gravel's a great driver. They got a fast car, And I'm glad it happened, this early in the season to get it over with for them guys, because it is every race you go, it seems like it's just more weight on your shoulders. You didn't win, and everybody questions what you're doing, and so it's good for them guys to get a win, and I'm sure makes everybody happy. Bobby, Jax, the whole family.
Well, the story is Dave Byro, the third DB3, is a lot of people know him. Did a nice thing in Victory Lane where he FaceTimed Bobby so she could see Victory Lane. So I thought that was a very touching thing to do, and it's good that she was able to enjoy that. So
absolutely,
kind of a good story there, and I agree with you. You always want to get that pressure out of the way.
Yeah. Actually, he looked really good. He got
on the bottom.
He got that wing back, and he got her rolling around on the bottom. I was like, man.
Well, he got it in the trunk.
Oh yeah. There was a couple races a few years ago when he was running the 5 car when he would do that. A really slick. He'd be like running 5th or 6th. He'd put the wing in the trunk and take off. Like no one was going anywhere, and he would just find something and that's kind of what it looked like, because he was hovering around 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Right.
And it was like no one was using that part of the track, and he found it, and lights out.
Well, we'll talk to Philip Dietz in segment 4. Should be interesting. Aaron Reitzel, had to wonder when, I guess, he was going to explode, so to speak. He's kind of been pretty pedestrian through the early part of the season.
I was beginning to worry. Honestly, I was beginning to worry a little bit, because he had a ton of speed last year early in the night. Like time trials would be no issue for him. And beginning of the year so far this year, he kind of hasn't had that speed in time trials, but he got her all figured out.
And in a big way. Yeah. I mean, he set quick time. He set quick time in hot laps.
Yeah.
And then wins the heat, wins the dash, in the feature really just untouched.
No, he had such a...
And this was at Paris Auto Speedway. Incidentally, his second World of Outlaw win. His first one came at Thunderbolt in Tulare last year. So California's good to him. He waited till the end of the California swing to really pick it up. But, I mean... And he's 5th in points. Now, what's he do?
Wow. That's awesome. I had no idea.
Well, it was a good night, and he hasn't been terrible under race conditions. He just hasn't been what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, there's nights when I'm like, man, this is his deal. Like, and he doesn't have the speed that I think he should. But trust me, I get it.
Well,
I get it.
Now, again, what do you do? I mean, I think he goes all-stars.
I think he's going to go all-stars. I think one more year really would have them guys prepared.
I tend to agree with you.
Not that he couldn't go and compete, but I think one more year really gets him really prepared to, to maybe, I'm not going to say challenge shots, but maybe be a pain in the butt.
He looked prepared at Paris Auto Speedway Saturday
Actually,
night.
that thing looked like it rubbered up kind of from the top down.
It did.
It was actually cool watching the highlights, because I'm like, they're getting straighter, they're getting faster, and Reitzel's driving away.
Look here, just as a kind of a side note to this, don't run 2 other divisions with the World of Outlaws. And they do it every year at Paris. I don't get it. That USAC CRA race was terrible. The race was okay, but it took too long. I fell asleep. Thankfully, somebody called me at like 1:30 in the morning and woke me up.
Wow.
Or actually, it might have been a little sooner. And I was able to kind of get a second win for the feature. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I didn't see the feature.
You need to, World of Outlaws, if you want to have a junker division with it, like, I don't know.
I don't think,
Bombers.
honestly.
They have Bombers out there, and I just love the name Bombers. But
I truly don't think that you need that with the Outlaws. There's plenty of racing with them. The crowds are plenty to sustain the purse. And let's just race and get out of there. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm sure them guys feeling the same way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Here's just a side note. Donnie Schatz leaves California. Now they go to Arizona this week. Tied with Darren Pittman in the point standings. Donnie Schatz lost positions in each A main this weekend.
That's like a shocker.
Never happens.
No. 2 nights in a row.
But Darren Pittman finished 13th, had his worst finish of the year at Paris, and that allowed Donnie to tie it. Donnie Schatz has not had a great start to the season, but he's tied for the point lead. This goes back to what I've said. It's Donnie's world, and we just live in it.
I couldn't agree more. I can't disagree on that one, sorry.
I mean, he finished, I think, what, 5th and 7th or 6th and 7th? Started second the one.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yes, I got this.
Yeah, that was the night you took.
Yeah,
that's where I caught a break.
I'm gonna hammer Elliott for sure this week.
Yeah, well, it didn't happen.
Hey, I just want to add, we had Joe Gertie on the show last week, and we kind of beat up Heath a little bit. Yeah. Well, Heath was in a little mishap, so hope all is well with him.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks ago we had him on, and Heath. What did he get run over by?
He got caught between two trailers basically, and was about to get crushed. Honestly, he jacked up his forearm pretty good as a plate in that, and so get well.
Yeah, Heath Moyle, I guess he's kind of the car chief.
He's the glue for that team for the last 4 years.
Kyle Larson Racing, yeah, he's been great for them. Get well soon.
Yep,
that's got to be hard. Sprint Car Challenge Tour. Andy Forsberg gets the win at Placerville. Not a big surprise in that is now his 59 wins there. He's the leading 360 winner there. We're going to have him on in segment 2. Won a close battle with the Shark, Sean Becker.
Two of the mainstays from California battling, huh?
Yeah, it was close. We have the picture of it, and it was close. The Shark was lurking.
Yes. Those guys win a lot of races out there, those two.
Only 32 cars at the SCCT event. That surprised me.
Yeah, but you think
a couple years ago they had 60.
Do you think it had anything to do with the fact that the Outlaws are still in California too? There's some guys, a couple California guys that probably would have been at the 360 show, but it still doesn't add 30 because the Outlaws had their smallest field as well. I think at the California swing.
Yeah, they had 24 at Paris or 25.
25, I think. Yeah.
So a little bit of a concern there, but again, good race. Andy Forsberg, I'm not really sure why people aren't beating down his door. Last year, he tied Justin Sanders for the most wins in California. And people don't talk about him.
Pretty stout.
But we'll talk to him in segment 2. Stay tuned to segment 2, SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. Welcome to segment 2, SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast. Joining us on the phone is Andy Forsberg, who collected his first career SCCT win last week at Placerville. Andy, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. It's hard for me to believe in the couple years that SCCT's been around that this was your first win in that series. Were you beginning to wonder if you were going to win? Did it kind of play with your psyche a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to win, and you think I think I should win every night. But the first year the tour was out, we didn't really run all the races. I was off doing other things with other series. And then, last year I teamed back up with the F&F guys. And I think we all kind of maybe thought we were going to set the world on fire. The first year that the tour, they actually fielded 2 cars. And I think that stretched them a little bit thin. Honestly, I don't even know that they can barely field 1 car, let alone 2. So they downsized to 1 car, got me, and I think we all kind of were breaking our arms, patting ourselves in the back, thinking we were going to set the world on fire. And we never really did last year. I mean, we still ran 5th in points, but we weren't super competitive. I mean, we were a 5th place type of car and never really competed for anything. But I don't know, we just figured out something Saturday. The track was really kind of up my alley. Placerville's typically pretty slick and dusty and dry, and it was kind of Marchish, rainy type weather track. It was rough and heavy and kind of how I like it. So everything just kind of played into our hand.
Yeah, somebody told me that you do like it rough. You're one of the few guys that I've ever talked to who likes a rough track and would rather have that than maybe dry, slick, and smooth as glass.
Yeah, and that my breed, I guess, is dying out. I mean, my dad raced. He raced at West Capitol, which was a well-known track in Sacramento back in the day. And a smooth night there was like a 1 foot deep rut. So wow. I joke that it's in my genes. And obviously, throughout the last 10 or so years, the micro sprints and the outlaw kart kids have been coming in and being super successful in the sprint cars, and they're used to super smooth. You know, the track has to be smooth. Those cars don't have really suspension on them, so you know they're used to super smooth and sliding through, and you know slide jobs and really driving with the wing, and that's what they're accustomed to, and that's you know typically what the tracks are like around here, and yeah. So when it's rough and choppy, I kind of like to take advantage of those nights.
How big is it to kind of get this win this early in the season in SCCT competition? Is that kind of a momentum builder for you and kind of maybe give you confidence running the series?
Yeah, I mean, winning always builds confidence, and I think it is nice to get the monkey off our back. But we're going to Stockton in 2 weeks, which is a pretty big track, and we haven't really done a whole hell of a lot there worth bragging about. So we could be slapped back to reality really quick in 2 nights at Stockton next weekend. So we'll see. It'd be nice to get through there. I mean, I joke that I'm a short track expert, but, you know, Stockton's kind of a half mile, and we go to Tulare and Hanford, and they're a little bit bigger. So we struggled at those 3 tracks last year. We really weren't up to speed, and you know, we just kind of muck around in 10th place and just kind of lick our wounds. But, you know, the proof will be in the pudding here if we can get our act together on the bigger track.
Maybe you can catch the roughness that they had for the Outlaws show at Stockton.
Oh, my word.
It'll be right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of buddies with Brad Sweet, and we'll talk a little bit, and he'd be like, "Yeah, that's your type of track there," and I'll watch a video or something of him back east somewhere, and it'll be kind of rough, and I'll joke with him that he needed me to be his relief driver. But yeah, I don't know, man. A rough track on a half mile, that's probably not my forte either. You're just going too fast. You know, at Chico and Petaluma and Placerville, Marysville, smaller tracks out here in California, I kind of enjoy it when they're rough and choppy and fast. But man, Stockton's too fast to be rough.
I hear that. So you've indicated that you obviously run for someone else in the SCCT tour, but you run your own deal normally. How tough is that for you guys to sustain that against the likes of Roth, the Lamars, Tarleton, and them guys?
It's horrible. I mean, I'll be honest with you. So, I have my own personal car, the family car that we typically run at Chico on Fridays. You know, we go up there and run with Troy Hennig and Dennis Gage and Lowell Morale, you know, with Cycleland fame. So, I enjoy that, and it's frustrating. And I think things are kind of off kilter a little bit out here. Not to get off subject, but the 360s have just gone crazy, and you know, the 410s are kind of getting pushed aside, and I don't know if that's right for what the rest of the country's doing. I mean, I like it when the Outlaws come to town, and I think we need 410 racing in California to keep the Outlaws coming around. And yeah, when you're racing bigger teams like that are racing 360s, it's kind of not really what the series was designed for, you know, 25, 30 years ago when they first came out, called limited sprints. And I don't think when those guys all sat around table, they thought they were going to have outlaw caliper race teams racing limited sprints or 360s. So it's frustrating, and you know it's tough. You know, even the team I run for on Saturdays, F&F, you know, it's just 2 brother-in-laws that have a team, and they partnered up, and Alan's dad owns a truck, and this guy owns a trailer, and it's, you know, it's a co-op where, yeah, you roll into the pits and you park next to Tarleton's or B-Packers or Tri-C. You're kind of looking up going, man, what are we doing here? But it's just kind of where we're at in California right now.
Andy, that being said, I mean, you have a ton of wins at Silver Dollar. You have 170 wins overall, 59 at Placerville. Last year, I think you tied Justin Sanders for most wins in California. Yet you're not called by those guys. I'm still trying to figure out the California landscape, why certain guys get rides over other guys. It seems odd to me that you haven't been called to run one of those cars.
I think my time has come and gone. I mean, I don't know, 42 is too old. I do agree Sanders probably should be in something legit, like a full-time deal. But, you know, I think there was a time where I was running Golden State for the Family Auto Service back in 03, 04, 05, and that was a pretty small team, and we were doing some pretty cool things. And I thought at that time maybe a team should have given me a call. But, you know, the bigger teams always had drivers that were, you know, in their car for a couple years, and, you know, maybe timing just wasn't right for me. But now I'm kind of happy. I'm not going to say if one of those teams called me up, I wouldn't definitely consider it. But I kind of like racing where I do. I race Chico on Fridays typically, and that's about 2 hours from the house, and Placerville on Saturdays, which is about 40 minutes from Auburn. So traveling up and down California to run Tulare and Hanford, and I kind of grew out. I actually did get tired of that for 3 years when I did run the Golden State Series. Getting home 3 or 4 in the morning kind of wore out my love of the sport, I guess. And I'll be on the couch till 2:30 on a Saturday, watching TV and just hanging out. And then 3 o'clock comes, you get off the couch and haul butt to the racetrack. So I enjoy, I guess you might say, the least path of resistance to go racing. I don't know if that's, right, but
sure.
I enjoy it. I mean, I race for fun. I don't get paid. I don't, I have a company that pays the bills. So, I kind of, people will say, well, you should be doing this, or why didn't you go to Tulare? Why'd you go to Marysville 2 weeks ago? You should have been down in Tulare. Well, Marysville's 40 minutes from my house, and Tulare's 4 hours from my house. So, that's why I did that, because I just, I'm doing this to have fun, and driving 4 hours in a truck and trailer for, isn't fun to me. So, I don't know. Long story short, I don't think I'll be getting a call from any of the bigger teams, but I'm all right doing what I'm doing.
That's all right. Just keep beating them.
Oh, yeah. Well, that doesn't hurt either.
So I understand you own your own business, and there might have been a Knoxville Nationals champion that maybe might have worked for you at one time.
Well, if that's what you want to call it, yeah, he did.
Oh.
Brad was, I don't know, 17-ish, I think, and he spent more time in the office and playing on the computer, and my wife's computer might have gotten blown up from certain websites that he was on that
wow.
viruses that come on her computer.
Wow.
So she's still pissed about that. But, so he would take the office chair. If Kenneth wasn't in the office, he would take the chair out in the shop, and he'd just roll around and do work on cabinets. Well, we basically were a body shop for cabinets. I'll explain that. But, yeah, he would come out and stand on cabinets and cabinet doors, and he'd do it in Candace's chair. So
maybe the chair was higher than he normally would be.
Could be, too.
Definitely. I actually got a picture of us in Victory Lane together, and he's sitting next to us three, and he's definitely the shortest one. And he's actually on his tiptoes now that I look at it a little closer. But, he was definitely, you could tell he was not wanting to work. He wanted to race and to look back and see what he did. When he left California, I don't think anybody thought he was going to be the next great thing or a Knoxville Nationals champion. I mean, he had done a couple cool things, and they just said screw it, and he bought a $500 crew cab from Troy Hennig, and they packed everything up they owned in a crappy little 2-axle enclosed trailer, and he went back and made a name for himself back in Indiana, and which eventually led to him driving for Casey. But crazy how that worked out.
So you're telling me Brad's sweet, it's good he can drive a race car is what you're telling me.
I told him it's a good thing he got a job sitting down, because that was right up his alley. I got to give him credit for trying to, he's trying to help 410 racing too out here and promote some stuff and kind of get some energy behind 410 racing. But I think he's got a rude awakening on how tough promoting in California is here these last couple races. It's been California's a tough deal. I'm not too educated on what goes on out back east and what the tracks go through, but over here in California, man, it's these promoters got their hands full.
Wow, I think that's pretty much anywhere. But it was interesting. The race on Saturday, Sean Becker was coming. It's a guy that you've raced against a lot, and I would call you. I mean, it seems like your careers have gone hand in hand almost. What's it like running with him? I mean, you guys are kind of different personalities. He's kind of quiet if you don't know him, and you're more outgoing, but you guys both race clean. You guys race a lot against each other. What's that dynamic like?
I enjoy it because I know that I'm not going to get run over. I can just say that.
That's always a plus.
And hopefully he feels the same about me. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to think that we have a reputation of both being pretty clean racers, and I think we try a little bit harder to be clean when we race with each other just for that. And we are pretty good friends. But yeah, honestly, I didn't know it was Sean behind me because he's running he's running two cars with one number, and I was just totally confused because typically he was in the 75 car Saturday, but they had an 88 on it. And I'm watching the scoreboard, and I see this 88 kind of keep pecking up. And every caution, I was sitting there going, who the hell is this 88 car? Because Neto was an 88, but he had a flat tire, so I knew he was at the back. So I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And honestly, I spent majority of every caution trying to figure out who is in the 88 car. I was visualizing the pit area. Like, okay, that car was parked here, this car was parked there, the 5 car, the 12 car, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I spent more time worrying about trying to figure out who the 88 car was than I was worrying about what the hell to do on the racetrack. But once I figured out it was Sean, it was more of a relief because I knew I wasn't going to get run over on a restart or anything like that, and the race was going to be clean. So I enjoy racing with Sean. It's a relief, really.
You guys are like the senior citizens out there. I mean, there's so many young guys coming out of California now, and I've started covering the California scene more. I think the talent level out there is phenomenal. What's it like, or has it been like, running against kids, the Buddy Kofoids of the world, even Corey Eliason's not old, and Gio Selzy? What's it like running against all those guys weekly?
It is odd because I don't see myself as old, but yeah, to them I'm probably an ancient old fossil. And it's I grew up watching my dad race, and I mean it was a novelty if there was a 16 or 17-year-old driver out there. I mean everybody was 35, 40, 45 years old, and every once in a while a rookie kid would come out and race, and that's kind of the mentality I still have now. So like you say, when you sit back and you look at the in the pit area, and everybody, damn near the whole field's, under 20 almost. And then you got a couple people like me or Sean Becker, and it's odd. And the other thing that's odd is back when I remember watching rookies come out, myself included, I sucked for a couple years. I mean, I couldn't hit my ass. I was out there spinning out, running over crap. These kids come out of karts and micros, and they're damn near ready to win races, within a couple of nights in a sprint car. So it's a little frustrating because, I mean, I want them to come out and struggle for a while so I can continue picking on them and beating them. But, they're ready to beat my ass, within their first season. So, yeah, it's a crazy dynamic, and the scenery is definitely changing in sprint cars.
You mentioned earlier the 360s, 410s. What needs to happen for the 410 landscape to get bigger out there and really get where SCCT's been the last couple years?
Yeah, well, I've got a billion opinions of this, and you might have to have me on the show for like a month straight to get them all out. But I mean, I think what it comes down to is so my dad raced 410s. He ran NARC in the 80s. They put wings on Calistoga, and all his motor blew up. So we didn't have a program good enough to go 410 racing. So we went 360 racing. So we were a hobby team. The 360s had kind of evolved from carbureted cars. Some tracks didn't run front wings. They were kind of nerdy, dorky cars, to sort of say. So I almost think that the 360s have become too cool and too legit out here, or you don't strive to go 410 racing because the 360s are cool, and they have this new series that offers a great point fun, and the heat races have sponsors, and the fastest lap has a sponsor. I mean, there's 30 different things you can win in a night. So there's no need to go 410 racing almost. So it's almost like we need to take a step back 20 years, and a lot of people tell me you just can't do that, but I don't know. If we can make the local Saturday night 360 racetracks back up, run maybe no titanium, no front wings, no wing spotters, just make them to where the cars are almost dorky. You're like, well, I don't want to run a 360. I'm going to go run 410s. But I don't know. I think the ship sailed. I don't know if you could do that now. So there just needs to be a bigger separation. If a 360 is like 60% cool and the 410 is 100% cool, you might see something happen. But right now they're neck and neck, and it's frustrating. I think something needs to happen, and in the lane we're going down now, in my opinion, and it might sound dramatic, but I mean I could see 410 racing going away in California.
I agree with you. Now, see, in our area, we only have like one or two guys crossover, where in California, it's so interchangeable. I mean, your KWS guys run SCCT if they don't conflict or whatever.
They don't conflict, and that's the other thing is they work together. And I mean, I see the promoter side. They want every car they can get, but yeah, I mean, NARC and the tour races don't conflict at all. So you do see a ton of crossover. So I mean, I remember going to the first meeting when they started talking about this SCCT, and all the 360 guys are, pounding their fist. Yeah, we want more. Well, they got more, but now guess what? You're racing against Tarletons and B-Packers and Outlaw Caliper teams, so it pays a little bit more, but you guys that used to run 3rd, 4th, and 5th, now you're running 9th, 10th, and 11th, and the guys that used to make the show aren't even making the show, so nobody's really making any more money, and we're actually spending more money to try to compete with these guys. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, I think that's sprint car racing across the country. It's just different issues. Andy, I would like to talk to you for a month.
Yeah, it would be cool.
That would be cool. But we got to let you go. But again, thank you very much for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Congratulations on your start to the season, getting a win this early, and we appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it, and if it ever stops raining in California, we might race some more out here. But,
boy, I'll tell you, it's been bad out there.
Yeah, I think this weekend's not looking good, and I think that'll be rainouts 8 and 9 for me this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like Central PA last year.
Yeah, it's horrible. I'm sure the Outlaws are happy to get the hell out of California and get out of the rain because they didn't have too many races out here either. So it's been a struggle. These promoters are definitely hurting for certain out here.
Well, hopefully that changes. Hopefully it gets dry because once it does, you guys don't have a rain out ever. It seems like
it's going to stop raining and it's going to be 110. So it's going to be culture shock.
Feast or famine. Feast or famine. Yep. Well, Andy, again, thank you very much for coming on the show, and we look forward to having you on again sometime.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yep. Bye-bye. Check out SprintCarUnlimited.com for sprint car news from around the country. One click away every day. The website features breaking news, results, features, rankings, a weekly podcast, and much more from the world of sprint car racing. The off-season, the news doesn't stop there. We also cover breaking news with silly season and also have news from the Australian Summer Series. Yearly subscription is $50, 6 months is $35, 1 month is $8. If you purchase a yearly subscription, you get a free t-shirt. We also have giveaways for our members, the Month of Money contest, and much more. Check out SprintCarUnlimited.com today. Welcome back to segment 3, SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. Andy Forsberg, fun guy.
Great guy. Sounds like, I don't know. I don't know if I could go work for him. He'd make fun of me for sitting in the chair.
Obviously, I can't wait till Brad Sweets comes into
that
Central
could be fun.
PA.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll see him at Let's Race too, so I'm anxious to see. Say, Brad, how's the refinishing cabinet business going?
The concept I took out of the whole California thing is he's 42 years old, and really back here, he wouldn't be really that old back here.
No.
I mean, you got Lance, who's over 50.
Right.
And Fred was in his prime in the 40s. You know what I mean? Like,
I even think Ohio.
It's just a weird dynamic that at 42 out there, like, he's kind of forgotten. Like, it's not the Gio, it's not the Dominic, it's not the Eliason, it's not the the big names are all young guys out there, and then you got a guy like that just keeps rolling along, wins his 14 to 20 races a year, and they kind of don't talk about him much.
Yeah, and I don't know how you don't talk about that. I don't know how that guy's
172 wins in his career. I mean, and
nobody's calling.
That's stout.
That doesn't make sense to me. But the California dynamic's different.
It is.
It's way different.
It's good to know that the elder statesman can still get it done, though. That's the weirdest part. I feel
good about it.
He'd rather have a rough and tumble track than like a smooth track. So
it makes no sense.
I don't think he's as old as he thinks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
A lot of social media buzz this week, and one of the things I wanted to address something I saw, and this might hit a little close to home with you. Babs Motor Speedway starts this week with the sprint cars. Okay, they had their first sprint car show. And there was a statement last week. Obviously, they've had a lot of changes in the offseason for safety, and it's something they've been building up to. And somebody, obviously Colton Gauss, general manager, promotes that, which he should for numerous reasons. It's no different than if I promote my business or Joe Blow promotes their business. Somebody got on, I believe, Facebook and made the comment that Colton should be where Greg is.
Wow. Well, I don't think that's fair to anybody.
I really have an issue with the keyboard jockeys, doing that. I mean, because I don't know what kind of person does that.
Not a very smart person, that's for sure.
I mean, it's nobody's fault.
No, it happened, and obviously nobody wanted it to happen.
No.
And it sucks, but I mean, to wish that on someone else is pretty ignorant.
Yeah, well, and there's other comments, and I just, man, I use Twitter for what I use Twitter for, to just basically get stories out there, so on and so forth. But it really says a lot about social media, because Facebook, that all falls under that social media umbrella. To me, it says a lot that somebody would do that. I don't know where we've gotten to where you can actually say that. And his name was attached to it.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't a made-up name, so I could never say that. I couldn't say that to the person, somebody I hated
the
and
most.
knew.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely not something that should have been said or ever said, really.
And I just wish that stuff would go away. Now, social media, and that's kind of our topic here, because this week it fired up. There's a lot of things, and social media has its really good points.
Yeah, you knew there was going to be some good stuff for April Fools. I mean,
Danny Dietrich, by the way, I'm anxious to see him this week. Gets on social media on Monday and puts out a release through Fully Injected. That's what made it look
legit.
Yeah. And how he was going to scrap everything he was going to do. And he was going to run All-Stars and Outlaws the rest of the year to prepare to run full-time with the Outlaws in 2019. Or 2020, I'm sorry. And now, look, I didn't believe it. I never called him even, because I looked, and when I'm in bed in the morning, my phone goes off if I get an email.
At noon yet?
No, I wish it was noon. Come on, you know better than that. I can't sleep that long.
All right.
Probably because the guy in the apartment next to me singing something.
Yeah, you were complaining about that. Here, I thought I had you up all the time thinking about who you were going to pick the next week.
No, nice try, but we'll get to that in segment 5. But it's funny. People bought into that.
Scary. Yeah.
I mean, you knew it right away.
Honestly, I didn't even see it, and then I saw later that night, because honestly, right now at work, I don't get to do a whole lot of checking Facebook or Twitter or anything during the day. So usually, unfortunately, it's usually when I'm driving home, I'll take a look at whatever I can, which isn't very good. No, while I'm at a red light, of course.
Of course.
And I saw something like something about it, and I'm thinking, man, I know what the date is today. I wonder if this is just a hoax.
See, that's what happened with me. I woke up, I heard it, and I look at it, and I go, it's Monday.
Yeah.
It's April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Got it.
I was...
But that's the fun part about social media.
Yeah. It can be... Actually, social media can be great. Like, for if it's used properly, it can be great. Promotion. But, boy, there's some people that don't want to use it properly, and shame on them.
Now, we're going to stick with Danny Dietrich, because... not only is he running well, he's back saying stuff.
He's usually saying stuff when he's running well.
Well, I like this anyway, because I do think, I was asked this week what I think about Danny on social media. I think Danny's fine on social media. I think there's a lot of things like he promotes well, obviously.
Yep.
He gets the whole outlaw posse thing stoked, which I think is good. I'd like to see more stuff locally stoked up between drivers. Not malicious, but you got to have rivalries. And he kind of had one with Lance a little bit last year, or with people in that camp.
Mm-hmm.
Today he comes out and says he's not going back to Lincoln until there's 2 grooves, a cushion, where he can run low. It's not rubbed it up. He said some things, and it got people stirring. Obviously, he's loving Port Royal. I guess he's going to run there more.
I'll be honest with you. I think Port's been doing a really good job. Obviously, I haven't been to Lincoln, but Lincoln will have its when they get night racing. Everything kind of straightens out when you get night racing. That's why, honestly, that's why I'm so anti-day show, because you have.
Right.
Hey, I'm not saying you can't have a good one, but it's usually like I felt like this week Port watered the top. I wasn't sure that was the best case scenario after I watched the race, because I felt like the heat. Honestly, when they went to run the heat races, I was like, oh man, I'm not sure if anybody's going to pass, because the late models couldn't leave the bottom.
Right.
And the heat races were pretty good.
They were.
And I'm thinking, boy, by the time the feature came rolling around, they had it cleaned off, and I'm like, man, this could be pretty good. It's pretty slick, could be pretty good, just like last week. And then they kind of watered the top, and
that's where it had to be.
It was pretty much hammered down around the top. It made it so. And Danny moved through the field. Okay, he did move through the field, so obviously Port Royal was good for him. But I think Lincoln will get their 2 lanes back. I think sometimes they run the track in too much at the beginning of the night. Like when we'd show up there, they'd be packing it, and then it doesn't really go anywhere. You throw crumblies up, and it stays dirty the rest of the night. You can't pack a cushion, and it's game over.
And I think this transitions into something else. There's good and bad races everywhere.
Absolutely.
Unless you're at Grand Forks or
yeah, I'm sure they've had their share of bad ones.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to. Hey, look, I haven't seen a bad World Finals. I've not seen a bad Knoxville Nationals live.
Depends what side of the fence you're on. Trust me.
That's true. But I think Volusia has been good the last few years.
Yeah. For big tracks like that and Charlotte,
right,
to be racy, because everybody's like, oh, the track's got to be little for it to be racy.
I've seen good races at Lincoln. I've seen bad races at Lincoln. Yeah. I've seen good races at Port Royal. I've seen bad races at Port Royal. And I've seen good races at Williams Grove.
Absolutely.
And I've seen bad races at Williams Grove. I don't think there is a uniform. I don't think you can say this track's better than that. I think Babs puts on great races.
Yeah. Grandview puts on awesome races.
Grandview. Hey, Sealands Grove last year for the 410s.
Oh, yeah.
Was fabulous.
Yeah. No, they were some of the best races that have been. I'd say a collective season at Sealands Grove, the last, their partial schedule thing, last year had to be their best showing.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can make a blanket statement that one place is better than the other. And I'm going to include Williams Grove in that.
No, I agree.
Somebody said Lincoln's the best racing in Central PA. I don't
know. I've been at every track where it sucked. I've been at every track where it's great. Here's the thing. Everybody has a good night and a bad night. Your favorite driver could win 30 races one season, but there's going to be nights when you run 10th or 12th and just sucked. Yeah. And I think the tracks run into that sometimes, depending on the weather. Sometimes, sometimes when early in the season, when it's just that wet, you can't do anything about it. There's just nothing you can do. Like the first week at Lincoln, it was just it never got wide. I mean, the only thing you could do is cancel, and then all the keyboard maniacs would be pissed about that. So, what do you do?
You can't win.
You can't make everybody
like
happy.
Bill McIntyre, our producer.
You can't make everybody happy.
No,
that's the way
you
it
can't.
is.
And I think, quite honestly, Ryan, I don't even know what a good race is anymore. Or I should say, I know what it is for me. Do you have to have a pass for the lead for a good race? I think that's even changed. I think when you ask different people, they need to see a pass for the lead. Well, if a guy gets out front, but there's like 10 passes in the top 5, that's a good race to me.
Yeah. But so we had Williams Grove Friday night. Yeah. Snoozer, right? Guy won by 4 seconds, star on the pole. Nobody passed anybody, right?
Yeah.
That's all you'll hear.
Yes.
Except there was a couple guys that passed cars. Yeah. So, how bad was Williams Grove? Yeah. When the right car starts at the front row and they got it dialed in, they're going to drive away. That's not to say you can't find good racing throughout the pack somewhere.
And this is why I say the World of Outlaws is the best racing. Because, the guy might win from the pole, but they traded the lead 3 times. Yeah. Or they ran within a car length of each other for 5 laps. at the end, that's still good, even though the pole sitter won. What I'm getting is you can't just look at where the little number behind the guy, where he started, and determine if it's a good race. You can't, there's variables. And I agree with you. It's not an exact science to prepare a race.
Nope.
I think the best in the business are the Duncans at Knoxville.
Oh, I would have to agree.
There's no question about that. And I think, Eldora puts on good races. I had that discussion this week. Everybody said, well, it's not old Eldora. Well, I remember old Eldora. And I loved old Eldora. It was a wow factor.
Yeah, bouncing off the fence every lap.
But I watched Dave Blaney win by over half a track, win the King's Royal. Was it a good race? Look, I still had the wow factor. I was a kid. I was young. I was a kid, but I was young. And I watched him. I thought it was neat watching him just annihilate the field. So I just think there's a lot of variables. And I think everybody has good and bad races.
I think everybody that hides behind the keyboard has all the answers at the end of the day. Because honestly, I go to watch races now and I'm like, you should have done something different. Yeah, it's much easier when all you have to do is sit back and look at the big picture. And when the actual pressure's on you to make something happen and to make everything work out, we'll see how good you do. That's my thing.
I agree. So that's going to wrap up segment 3, SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. We'll be back in segment 4 with Philip Dietz. Stay tuned. Welcome back to segment 4, SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. Joining us on the phone is Philip Dietz, who is the crew chief for Jason Johnson Racing and for driver David Gravel. Got the win this week with the World of Outlaws. Philip, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Yourself?
Not as good as you. Obviously, getting a World of Outlaw win this early in the year, that's quite an accomplishment. And not only that, it's your first 410 win, I believe, since the tragedy with Jason. How emotional was that victory?
It was pretty emotional, to be honest. California was kind of tough on us. The first few weeks, we struggled. Tulare struggled, Chico, and even Stockton was kind of tough on us. So, we rolled into Hanford with an open mind. We knew it was a new night and we were going to make the best of it. And thankfully, everything worked out. But, definitely an emotional night. I miss Jason every day. It's tough to wake up and, see his name on everything and continue on without him. But, at the end of the day, we know that's what he would want us to do. And, we try to make the best of it.
Now, we told a story earlier. Dave Byro from the third from DB3 Imaging actually FaceTimed Bobby in Victory Lane. That had to be kind of special for all of you.
Yeah, she was pretty emotional too. I know she was pretty bummed that she had to miss the race. She actually came out for Tulare, she came out for Stockton and Chico and was supposed to stay through Watsonville and Placerville. Unfortunately, those two events were rained out, but she was bummed. She had to go back and miss out on her win. Jack's had to be back in school, but it was pretty cool that he was able to FaceTime her and kind of feel her or make her feel included.
Philip, you've been with this team from the beginning. What's the ride been like, and how difficult, obviously, has this last year been on you? Because, obviously, we kind of have some stuff in common here.
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience. Jason and I go back, I'd say 1997 was the first year that I kind of helped him out just part-time. And, at that time, I was clueless on what I was doing. I was basically just a glorified mud scraper. But I, tried to do the best I could at taking notes and learn as much as I can. And, in 2000, actually the end of 2011, we joined back up again. And, I've been with this team ever since. But it's definitely a learning experience. We had a lot of success when we ran the American Sprint Car Series. But when we finally had the opportunity to go outlaw racing full time, it was certainly a change, between motors and wings and, the whole package, different tires and all that. It definitely made us realize, how much different we needed to treat our car, and not only from a mechanic side or standpoint, but him as a driver. It took us a good year or more to adapt to, the new challenge. So
was there a point maybe after the incident with Jason, the tragic incident, was there a point where you thought about going to another team when maybe things were in limbo, or maybe even getting out of the sport on the whole?
Yeah, there were times that I thought about getting out of it. The last thing on my mind was to jump to another team, at that point. But there were thoughts about coming off the road and, pursuing, I guess would be considered a real job. But, the more that Bobby and I talked about it, racing is one thing that we've kind of been involved with our whole lives, and to up and walk away from it was certainly difficult. To continue on was difficult as well, but we have a lot of supporters of JJR. Without them, we probably would have shut the doors, but, there were a handful of them that kind of told us up front that they had our back if we wanted to continue on. And, fortunately for us, we were able to put everything together and, continue on full time with the Outlaws again this year.
Philip, how much more workload have you kind of taken on? Obviously, Jason probably did a lot of the promotional stuff with your team, and now between you and Bobby, you guys basically have to run a race team, and you still got to do your day-to-day activities as far as being a crew chief.
Right, yeah. I honestly I used to make fun of Jason. I'd ask him what he actually did during the day, but I realize now how much work he actually did. I mean, it's between, trying to balance the checkbook to, speaking with sponsors and even chasing new sponsorship. It's definitely a full-time job in itself, on the promotion side of things. I do have help, from Bobby. Even Jason's mother, Deborah, helps out a lot with the accounting side of things. But definitely more roles, more challenges, between, working with Paul Kissler on engines and Tim Engler on fueling motors and all that. That was kind of more of Jason's responsibility. So that's definitely been a new challenge for me. But, so far so good.
Philip, you have a very young team. You're the senior citizen of the group at 35. You hired David Gravel, who's young, and I guess the couple workers you have are real young too. How do you kind of manage all that? I mean, you're the guy. I mean, you're the elder statesman of the group, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but yeah. No, years ago, Jason and I built. We built this team and made it pretty simple on everyone. We designated roles, and, we even have it down to, a checklist on when we do maintenance on the car of everything that needs to be done. So as far as, being young, that's not really a concern to me. I feel like I have, two great mechanics and probably one of the best drivers out there right now. And, he's definitely proven himself as a driver. And then both my guys, they've worked their tail off and done a really good job at adapting to how, we like to do things here at JJR. So, even though we're young, I couldn't ask for a better team.
Philip, you talked about David a little bit. How much different are you guys doing things maybe from what you've done in the past with obviously a driver that you've had for a long time to something very new and quite possibly different?
Yeah, it's definitely a little different. David, I was talking to him the last couple of days. He's by far the most patient driver that I've ever worked with when the track gets slick. Even Hanford's a great example. That was one track that we really, really struggled at in the past. And I think a lot of it, being off on our setup, but then Jason, he would be the first one to climb out of the car and tell you that there was no way he was going to slow down that much to hit the bottom. So he's definitely more of a patient driver when it comes to that. It does allow
me to tighten up the car a little more to stick the bottom. But on the flip side, when the track is a little heavier, I felt like that's where we kind of shine more with Jason. But I think the biggest difference is just getting David comfortable with our car. I didn't realize how much different our car was, for a guy with his sort of liking. So it's been a learning experience, but, I feel like we're slowly improving each race.
How about the chemistry? I mean, between you and David, I mean, he's younger than Jason was. Now he's closer to what you are, but how's that developed, and is that still something that is a work in progress?
No, I feel like the chemistry's been good. He's definitely, even on the nights where we've struggled, he gets out of the car. He's always got a positive attitude. And my guys Tyler and Patrick are no different. We know that it's every night's going to not go our way. It's part of the learning experience of being a new team and, all working together for the first time. So we know that there's going to be nights where we struggle. All we can do is, learn from it and move on to the next race.
Now, one of Jason's things was always building this team. Heard it a lot. Are you guys kind of continuing to do that, to build this team? And what is the end game for this team?
That's the magic question. We really don't know at this point. We would love to see it continue on for many years, but even when Jason was here, we kind of treated it took it year by year. It's one thing to obtain sponsorship, but to keep them on board and keep everyone happy, not only performance-wise on our part, but, being able to give back to them, and make them feel a part is always a challenge. So we'd love to see it continue. But at this point, we're basically taking it 1 year at a time and just trying to make the best of it.
Well, Philip, you're doing a good job so far. I mean, obviously it's always, dicey starting out, a lot of pressure, but getting that win, I'm sure, helped.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was definitely weight off of all of our shoulders. That we felt like we had a pretty good car in Volusia. Unfortunately, I felt like we kind of got ourselves in a bad position qualifying. So it put us towards the back of the pack each night, but we felt like we had a good car there. We felt like we were decent in Vegas. California was a bit of a struggle for us at first, just because of all the different weather conditions and just kind of being, new as a team. But, to pick up a win at Hanford, that was never one of our strong tracks to begin with. So we didn't really have a great notebook rolling into that place. So to walk away with a win was pretty special.
Well, Philip, we appreciate you taking time out to come on the show. And again, thank you and good luck the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me a part of your show.
No problem. Thank you. Welcome back to the fifth and final segment, SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum. Ryan, Philip Dietz, an emotional win. You could hear him even on the phone getting a little, it's a tough subject still. So, a great interview. Good guy.
Yeah, what they've overcome in the last year is almost remarkable. More power to them guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, you have kind of some intimate knowledge about this, so I'm sure that probably hit home to you as well.
It did, and that made it, I feel like it's an extra special win for them guys.
Wow. Do they get another one this week? Oh. Possibly. Could be a pick.
Possibly. They're going to win more races. I think David Gravel's one of the better outlaw drivers there is, so they're certainly going to win plenty of races this year.
I agree. So this is the magical time.
Yeah. It's not been magical lately for you.
It sucked lately for me. We've picked 28 races.
Don't worry. We all have our runs.
Oh, mine's coming.
Yeah, that's what you always say.
No, it's coming. I'm like Lucas Wolf. I'm streaky.
Okay.
So we picked 28 races, and thank you to Jovan Schriltz, who kind of does this tabulation.
Thank God he keeps score because, like, usually after like the next morning, I'm texting you going, "Who did
I have?
Who did we pick this week? I don't even remember."
Yeah,
So at least someone's keeping score like fairly because I know if I was, I'd be like, "Yeah, I had whoever won last night."
Yeah. Well, wins we're tied up at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5s, I'm up by 1.
Yep.
I have 13. You have 12. Top 10s, and this one stings. You have 21. I have 19. And then you're up by 11 spots, which I guarantee you, I will catch you by the end of this weekend.
Okay. Fair enough.
Just telling you.
All right.
I'm pretty confident because I know who I'm taking. So we're going to start.
That's good because I don't have a clue who I'm taking. A lot of it's going to depend on, obviously, who you take.
Well, we're going to start with the World of Outlaws. They're at USA Raceway on Friday, Arizona Speedway on Saturday. Some storylines to follow with the World of Outlaws this weekend. I mean, obviously, the point battle. I get that it's early, but if Donnie Schatz leaves Arizona with a 10, 20-point lead, say he has a good weekend, they go to Devil's Bowl next, and you start making your way, Midwest and East, it could be lights out.
Yeah, and things start drying out a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
although I don't remember which track it was this week. It was pretty dry. Hanford. Yeah, it was pretty dry, but it was good racing. Really good racing.
Absolutely. So I think that's something to watch. Darren Pittman had a 13th place finish. Okay?
Can he get her back in order?
Yeah, the sky's not falling. That's not what I'm getting at. But hey, you just said it. We all have runs, whether it's picking drivers or racing a sprint car. So, if he comes back and wins this weekend, I think, you got something. Maybe he can contend with Donnie through the summer months. Here's another thing. Brad Sweet and Shane Stewart have yet to win a World of Outlaws event.
That's surprising.
It is surprising. They've led laps. So Shane Stewart's led laps in 3 events.
Yeah.
So him and Darren are tops in that category. So does, Brad Sweet not getting a win yet. We talked about Donnie at the beginning of the year. Well, we might as well talk about Brad as well. So those are 2 guys to watch this week. I don't think you're going to have many California invaders this week.
No, usually
it's in Arizona. That's done now.
The car count usually falls off here. Like, I don't expect to see a B main.
I don't either.
I'm hoping that it's not like a 2-heat format.
Yeah, we don't.
That's scary. That's not fun.
No, Jacob Allen. Horrible.
There's nights.
California swing.
Yeah, there's nights when he qualifies really good, but then still can't put a whole night together. So
right.
Yeah, it's a little concerning for Jake right now, but Bob's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He'll get him straightened out.
I do think he's going to win by May. I'm standing by that. I said that before the year. I didn't think he'd be really good in California, but it's been the total opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So I'm a little concerned about that. But those are just some of the storylines, obviously, to follow. Let's make some picks for the World of Outlaws.
Okay.
And I go first.
You go first. You're losing. You go first.
You've said that about 3 or 4 times in the show. I realize
I'm a good winner. I'm really not a good loser.
Okay. USA Raceway.
Donnie Schatz.
You know what?
Sorry.
I am taking Donnie Schatz because I don't think he loses spots in 3A mains
in a row.
Yeah, I think it's time for Donnie to start taking over. So I'm going to take Donnie Schatz at USA Raceway.
I'm going to take Brad Sweet. Consistency. That's what's getting me where I'm at.
Yeah, and he's been consistent.
He has. He always, honestly, for the last 3 years, he's been like a rock. Like top 5 probably every 4 nights out of 5. Can't hardly beat that, especially when you're in the position that we're in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Arizona Speedway, Saturday night. You get the first pick.
Take a guess.
Are you going Schatz?
Yeah. I'm out to win. The thing is he doesn't finish out of top 5 except last week.
Tell you what, Brian Brown's won at this place before.
Oh, that's a man.
He has not had a good swing either.
I talked to a buddy of mine the other day, and we were talking about Brian, and it was like, man, he's really struggling right now. But hey, one race turns it all around.
He's won there. I think that's where he got his outlaw win, if I'm not mistaken. Boy, that's tough. You took shots.
Did I shock you?
I'm in trouble. I'm going to go out on a limb and take Brian Brown.
Good for you.
To turn things around. I'm getting some reaction from the peanut gallery. They think I'm going to lose a lot of spots with that. I think Brian Brown is a good pick there.
Well, the one thing is like the crowd. Well, the crowds. I mean, not the crowds, but the fields are going to be smaller. So
yeah.
it's kind of a crapshoot, really.
Brian Brown's going to win this. In
there
fact,
you go.
Because I went off the grid, and I do this. Joe and I were talking about this the other day. That sometimes I like to go off the grid to be different. This is a calculated risk.
That's good. You're braver than I am. But I do like Brownie, and if he won, honestly, I'd be happy for him if he won. I'd be a little pissed because maybe I didn't get his. Yeah, because I'm going to lose a spot. But Brownie is a good dude. So,
well, King of the West opener, Kern County.
Yeah, this is a crapshoot if there ever was one for me. I might as well close.
I know who I'm taking.
Well, I guarantee you do.
Kyle Hurst has won 4 of the last 6 titles with this series. I don't think he's going to run it this year. He started that business, although he did
run Tyner's car, his business partner's car, at that SCCT race.
Yeah, Tyner Hurst Enterprises.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the itch comes back and he starts running more races, if the business is doing well. Just something to keep your eye on. I think car counts in relationship to SCCT. We heard Andy Forsberg talk about it earlier.
Yeah.
With 360 and 410 and how 410 needs to get stronger. We're going to see this weekend. It's the opener. SCCT's off. They run, by the way, just a teaser to next week, one of my favorite races just because of the name.
The Asparagus Classic. Yeah.
Which
pays a pile of money. Andy talked about the SCCT.
Right.
And I think the reason that they get 60 cars some nights is they do a lot of promotional. There's a lot of money up for grabs. They pay for the heat. They have this award and that award. And they pay.
Sponsoring the hard charger for the year.
I mean, they pay good money.
Absolutely.
Like, I just feel like whoever's putting that show on is doing a heck of a job. And that's maybe there's a lack of that with the 410 division out there in California.
I think social media is so important. We talked about that in segment 3. I think racing is way behind on social media in a lot of areas. And I think SCCT does a good job with their social media. Better. I think they do as good a job as the World of Outlaws, if not maybe even a little better. They only have like 13, 14 races. And they do a really good job with it. So King of the West opener, I picked first, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm taking Dominic Selzy.
Good pick.
He's in the Roth car. That's the guy.
Well, I'm going to take my shot here. I'm going to take Facinto. You know why? Because he's been really fast since last year all the way through the beginning of this year.
Right.
I know he does. I don't think he runs a ton of 410 shows.
He doesn't.
But I'm taking Facinto.
If you win, I will take you. I will buy you a lunch at Applebee's next time I see it. He loves Applebee's. I still.
It's good you didn't offer him the meatball dealer. You'd be broke.
I would be broke, but Dominic, I'm depending on you, King of the West. Now we're gonna head back to Pennsylvania, and there's some. Look, we have a full weekend, 4 races going on. Williams Grove Friday, Saturday's Lincoln Port Royal, Baps Motor Speedway, who just signed a deal with the cushion. It's going to be 13 races. They kind of went out on their own, which I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the cushion's alive in Pennsylvania. You're probably going to see another announcement in the next couple of days about the cushion with another track in Central PA. We also have Selinsgrove Speedway starting this Saturday, 4 360s. A lot going on this week. The weather looks very sketchy for Williams Grove Friday night. But there's a lot of storylines to follow. I think we're going to have great weather Saturday, Sunday. Corey Eliason, tentatively scheduled to make the trip into Central PA. I'm anxious to see how he does in here.
I'm wondering how many more invaders we have just because the following week's the All-Star, the All-Star races around here. So if guys look at the schedule and they say, hey, I can come in and catch 3 races, it almost makes it, it makes it more worth your while if you can come in and catch 3 races in one weekend. So maybe we'll have some more invaders that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good prep for the All-Star races.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's face it. Williams Grove, the All-Stars are a big donut for 35, so they could use some track time there. Although Weather looks a little sketchy. I don't know if we're going to get it, but still, he can run Port Royal, can run Baps, and like TJ Michael came into Lincoln last week. Maybe somebody does that as well. Ohio has some races. Attica's supposed to get started again this weekend. They're going to try it. So some guys might stay out there because they can catch 3 races. But Williams go Friday night. I think we're looking at Brian Monteith. Does he get on track? Freddie Raymer, does he get on track at Williams Grove? Does Dietrich get a 3rd win? You know, Lucas Wolf, who's the first guy to get the 3 wins. So.
Yeah. And it is a handicapping show, if I'm not correct, right?
Correct. So Williams Grove also has the USAC 360 wingless cars on the docket. I'm a little sketchy about that. I think we have too many divisions in Central PA, but that's a topic for another time. We'll be here for 3 hours. So Ryan, you have the pick at Williams Grove. Who do you got?
I can't pick rain, can I?
No, you can't pick rain.
Man. Boy, I wish I could see
you wanted the Invaders.
The handicap. No, the handicapping. Boy, because hey, if they do race, we're gonna have rain Friday. It's gonna be narrow.
Absolutely.
Just honestly, I truly, looking at the weather right now, I don't know if it matters who I pick, because it looks like it's gonna be a little wet.
Right.
But if I got to pick somebody, I'm gonna take Monteith.
I'm gonna take Little Freddie because same reason you took Monteith.
Yeah, they're both going to be starting towards the front. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Lincoln Speedway has 410s and 358s and wingless super sportsman. That could be a long night. 358 sprints last week. Jeff Halligan gets the win. Comes out and he's out in his own car. So I'm interested to see how the 358s do there. They had good car count
was
last
up.
week.
Yeah,
29. It went from 20 to 29. So
that's good.
Should be interesting. Who's going to win at Lincoln? There's been no repeat winner. You've had Freddie Raymer, Alan Crimes, Danny Dietrich, and Lucas Wolf. I don't know if Danny Dietrich's going to be there.
Right.
I suspect he'll be a Port. I expect Lucas to be a Port. Who gets the win at Lincoln Speedway?
I don't know, but it's your pick first. So.
And I'm taking Brian Monteith again because it's got to happen, doesn't it?
No, I think that's a pretty solid pick.
Yeah,
I wish I would have had the first pick.
I'm going to school you this
week.
Week.
It's going to be handicapping, and he finished pretty far back last week. So
I wish someday we could do the outtakes with the peanut gallery we have,
Jesus.
And see the signs we get. They don't help us with our picks, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think they want to see us fail.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Monteith because this is the weekend I blow you away.
Yeah. Well, the first pick for this one's good. I mean, I would have liked to have the first pick. I'm going to take, I guess if we're going to have a repeat winner, it's going to have to be Freddie.
Ooh.
At Lincoln.
Won last week. That's tough.
Yeah. 2
in a row. That's tough. Port Royal Speedway has 410 sprints, late models, and 305s.
And we're drawing again at Port. Or are we not?
I'm not
Actually,
sure.
you know what? Last week they just drew an invert.
Oh, okay.
Like they, kind of how like not every driver drew.
Right.
I think the first heat race winner drew, and I think he drew a 2, which meant that the second place in each heat started 1, 2, 3.
Because we need to complicate it more.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately, you don't get no driver interaction with the fans. So I
agree with
that. That would be good, but Port Royal.
I think the key is here, Danny Dietrich, if he's back.
Yeah.
Lucas is really good there. Invaders, that's where they're going.
Yeah, I mean Dale looked really good last week. That was one thing we didn't talk about in the Port Royal.
There'll be a story on SprintCarUnlimited.com highlighting that. He talked.
That's good.
And
because he promised us he wouldn't.
Look, he said he would. But Dale, I think, is going to be competitive this year.
Yeah,
I liked what I've
seen. They got 4 races in, and they look pretty good. They look,
Absolutely.
Especially our tracks aren't really in Dale's wheelhouse. So
no, if he looks good here.
Yeah, and then learning a new team, so that's good for them guys.
Well, he has Kevin, the guy who was
Kevin Osmolsky, yes.
Yep, who used to be with Brent Marks. I think that helps.
That definitely helps around here.
So it'll be interesting. Don't know if he's staying in Ohio. He mentioned he didn't know where he was going. It was going to depend on the weather. So,
okay.
That's kind of a wild card. But you're the first pick at Port Royal. Who do you got?
I'm going to take Dietrich because if I don't, you will.
I am not taking Dan.
Oh, I know you're not.
No, but but I'm not taking him anyway.
Okay.
Port's tough.
Port is tough.
I'm going to take Brock Zerfoss.
Good pick.
He's
good pick.
Overdue to win there, and I think they've been quick. Had some motor issues last week.
Yeah, they did. They got to run after the races to make sure it was going to run again. So, yeah, I did. I was there for that.
We should pick 305s, but I won't do that to you.
I'd take my buddy Zach.
Zach Newland.
Yeah.
Selinsgrove Speedway, their opener. I'm anxious to see what Selinsgrove does this year.
I don't see that on here. Can't believe that's the next pick.
It's
because I have a feeling who you're going to take on this one.
By the way, Selinsgrove will also be on the cushion this week. The cushion has Baps Motor Speedway and Selinsgrove this season. Again, it's good to see the 360 action getting some love.
Yep.
And plus their sprint car.
Honestly, the 360 count this year should be much better because they're back in good graces with URC.
I think that's
or
the big
vice
story.
versa. Yeah, I think you're not going to see too many nights of 18 and 16 cars, which definitely was not good for the division. And both people kind of failed from it. You know, URC didn't have full car counts.
Right.
Selinsgrove didn't have full car counts. Hopefully they can work together and get us up to like 20, 25, 30 cars. That'd be great.
That would be great. It'd be good for the division. But I think Selinsgrove's going to have a great year. And I believe, do I have the
Oh, it's your pick, and I'll be shocked. Go ahead. Don't take him.
Mark Smith, maybe? Yeah. I think I'm going to go with Mark Smith on Selinsgrove.
Good pick, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have other guys.
You just blew me away.
Yeah. See, now you're getting advice.
I'm
from
getting
our
advice.
producer.
That's pretty good
Just
advice,
remember,
actually.
Bill McIntyre, he was a 358 guy.
Yeah.
He didn't know crap about 360s.
Yeah.
So you go ahead.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
You go ahead and pick that guy. I have Mark Smith.
Yeah, it was
a better
either
guy than that.
I was going to take Davey Franick.
Okay, there you go.
He's really good there. But I'll tell you what, Schultz showed some speed at Port Royal early in the year in the practice sessions and stuff. But here's the one thing. Franick's run like 8 or 10 races already.
Yes.
So if anybody, I'm going to have to go with Franick. You kind of threw this one in on me, and I knew when you got the first pick, I was screwed.
These picks have all fallen, like Kern County.
Yeah, I see that.
Hey.
I'll have to put this lineup up next time knowing that I got the first pick.
I didn't do it.
Okay, whatever.
Baps Motor Speedway. I think they have the best racing for 410s in the area. I think it's the most interesting because of the cushion part of it. I think the track has character. Anxious to see their new lights.
Yeah,
it's great on social media. I haven't been at Super Sportsman races yet. I'm just anxious to see how everything's come together. I like their new fencing. I thought that's even more impressive than the lights because I noticed that old rusty one. So I like what they're doing there. And again, I'd like to see them run 410 races more. But their core divisions are Super Sportsman, and it's a good core division.
Oh, yeah.
Your Super Sportsman late model street stock program, that's what drives the train, so to speak.
Yep.
But the 410 races are nice. I like them. So you have the first pick.
Ooh, I got the first pick.
But Lance DeWeese will not be there. So you could be in jail a little bit. And this track draws the J.J. Grossos. Remember, should have won there last year. Brian Monteith has never won.
That's hard
he won once.
Yeah.
He has a win there.
He was driving away the one night and something happened, man.
Ran out of gas.
He was
Ran
just
out of fuel.
hauling.
Terrible.
Last year. Oh, that was
whatever.
Heartbreaker.
Oh, no. He got involved with a lap car.
Yeah, I think it was a lap car, but he was, he was
Grosso
gone.
ran out of fuel.
Yeah, Grosso ran out of fuel. That was late in the year.
Hey, the mind's slipping a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right. You're getting older.
That's all right. Go ahead. Who do you got at Baps Motor Speedway?
Well, I'm going to get probably crucified for this, but I'm going to have to take Dietrich again.
Again?
Hey, I'm out to win. He's fast right now, and he's really good here. He's really good at Baps.
He is really good at Baps.
So, what am I supposed to say?
You're supposed to pick someone else.
Just lay over and let you hit me?
I
mean, seriously.
I was going to take Dietrich.
Come on. Exactly.
This is tough because I want to take Monteith, but it just doesn't get to victory lane there as much. It's tough. I mean, Lucas runs well there, but something always, I see him finishing in the top 5. I think you got the winner. And so I'm picking just to stay close.
There you go.
So I'm going to take Lucas Wolf.
There you go.
He's going to finish in the top 5. Guaranteed.
It's probably a draw show, right?
Yeah.
He'll be in good hands.
Yeah. That's true. Nobody draws like Lucas. That's going to wrap up this edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com podcast presented by Wicked Energy Gum and Wicked Cushion. Stay tuned to SprintCarUnlimited.com all week for your sprint car needs. We're going to have stories, video, plenty of content. We'll catch you next week.